what I like to do for the seasoned marketer is at the top, I like to include like a funny GIF.
GIF.
Did you
just say GIF?
Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to the S.O.B Marketing Podcast, where we celebrate the S.O.B that you are, and if you haven't figured it out yet, we mean small-owned business. We don't mean S.O.B.
Listen, we know that as a small business owner, you are working hard on the daily to keep your business fully operational while trying to promote it. And while some days it may feel like the business is owning you, if we're being honest with each other, I bet you would admit that you wouldn't give up the insanity for anything.
Our commitment here at the S.O.B Marketing Podcast is to give you the real talk, what works when it comes to advertising, marketing, promoting your business, and then what doesn't really work.
And Chelsea and I promise to always keep the conversation real.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the S.O.B Marketing Podcast. S.O.B as in small-owned business, not S.O.B as in S.O.B.
S.O.B.
We are here today to talk about another marketing topic. But before we get into it, thank you everyone for listening. If you haven't subscribed yet, just go ahead and subscribe. Hit that like button. Make sure you follow us. Leave us only 5-star reviews.
Nothing less.
Nothing less. And if you think that this podcast would be beneficial to someone that you know, go ahead and send it to them. We're here to give you free resources and help you with your small-owned business marketing. Today, we are talking about email marketing. And before we get into it, I just have to say, your inbox gives me so much anxiety. And I'm not saying like your work inbox because I don't know anything about that, but like your personal inbox. How many unread emails do you have?
All right, so I just checked my work inbox has 4,276 and let's see what my personal inbox has. Let's see.
I have to know, do you check your emails?
Yeah, every day. Okay, so my personal inbox, I'm at 9,673. All right,
what?
I do. Well, this is what's funny is that you assume that I don't check it. I do check it. It's just a matter of like, I think you have to remember I am 40 years old. Email has existed all my life. I have been signing up for email list all my life, Chelsea Mojica. So it's going to get cluttered in there. Okay. Sometimes
amateur.
I know. I will take the time to go in there and unsubscribe to stuff that I don't want to read anymore or to clean them up. So I will say go ahead.
Do you not have a junk email?
I do have a junk email that's full. So I'm just going to say I subscribe to a lot of email list, and this is probably a byproduct of that. And I'm getting up there in age. So that's what it is. I've just... You know,
well, I just haven't had time to sit there and
okay. Yeah. So we operate very differently, obviously.
Yes, we
but
do.
As you mentioned today, email marketing is here to stay. And that's the topic we are going to cover today. So for all of you small business owners out there, if you currently do not have an email list that you are consistently communicating with, you are leaving money on the table. And today we want to cover some tips and some practices that you can start to incorporate so that you are not leaving money on the table and you are leveraging this really great resource that costs you very little to manage and to take care of. And just in case you guys are wondering, if you're saying, I don't have time to sit there and write emails for my small business, well, good thing you know Chelsea and I, because we'll do it for you. So this is a service that we actually do take on. So if you do have somewhat of an email list already started, but you haven't had time to sit down and write consistent emails, you know, once every 2 weeks, once a month, whatever, we can help out. So just keep that in mind.
Let's get right into it. I just want to say at the beginning, email marketing might not seem fun, but it is so important, especially now that third-party cookies are kind of on the decline. And I don't know if you want to go more into that, Vivian.
I think we have to go more into that.
Yeah.
So here's what's interesting. So when Chelsea's talking about third-party cookies, she is not talking about cookies from Insomnia or Crumble or any of those really great cookie bakeries. We are talking about cookies that you find on the internet. And if you're a small business owner, the reason this is important to you is because when somebody is going online, we all know that Google and Apple has the capability to now follow people as they navigate through websites and through ads. This is the reason that whenever, we all joke about it, but when you're on Facebook, if you click on an ad, it tells Facebook, hey, this person is interested in stuff that looks like this or products related to this. And then as you scroll through an hour later, you'll start to see all these other products come up. It's because they are using third-party cookies to fill in those gaps, to collect data on what you're looking at, how long you're looking at it. And then they're taking that and basically choosing the best ads to place in front of you. And so what's happened, the reason third-party cookies is moving away is that a lot of people were in uproar because of their privacy.
Yes.
Right? They're saying, I love the internet. I do not want you guys tracking me. I don't want you all up in my business knowing what I'm doing, what I'm looking at, all that good stuff. So now companies are shifting in 2023 to not utilizing cookies. And instead what they're doing is they're taking aggregations of data. So basically, instead of saying Chelsea is looking at X, Y, and Z, it's user one looking at blank, 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 right? And so now what they're doing is they're just taking that data, repackaging it differently so that advertisers aren't able to see exactly what Chelsea's looking at.
Yes.
They're looking at what the users within this segment are looking at, right?
So you're still more anonymous.
Yes. And so you're able to still deliver really great results for advertisers, which is ultimately why everyone wants to aggregate this type of information because they're making money off of it, right? So it's still effective for advertisers, but it still allows anonymity.
That's why I said anonymous.
It still allows them to keep their privacy. And where we see this shifting is on Google. And also Apple has been ahead of the game. They quit using third-party cookies like a long time ago. I can't even remember if they initially were even using them. But so Apple has always been the leader in that. Google now is moving towards it. And therefore all of these other companies are also shifting to that mindset.
Yeah. And that's not to say, again, like you were saying, we're still getting that information. It's just now packaged differently. So we're not saying advertising is now no longer going to work. But here's the thing, using email marketing, you're reaching people that are interested in you. And it's just a great form of advertising that I think people really don't want to focus on because it's not fun. It's not social media. It's not videos or making ads. It's emails.
They sleep on it. They sleep.
Yeah.
Email marketing is boring to them. It's like snooze fast. Like that's why they don't want to utilize it. But the interesting thing, so Chelsea and I had a sidebar earlier, and for all of you listening out there, it used to be, and we have this even on our website, this statistic. They say for every dollar that you invest or spend on email marketing, you get back a return of $42.
Yep.
Okay. So talk about ROI. Like, hello, that blows, any other advertising medium.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing, though, is just yesterday I was reading the statistic and they had actually increased it that for every dollar spent, you're now getting back $44.
Wow.
All right? So it's still climbing. And I think it's because of the reason Chelsea was saying, for one, you have this really great opportunity to segment your audience base.
And really quick, I know firsthand that you are getting that ROI. We have a client that we do email marketing for. I sent out her June newsletter within I want to say less than a week, she's already gotten 2 new appointments from that.
I mean, and that's the thing, y'all. If you think about it, all right, you have an email and your subscriber base is going to start small. If you are a small business owner and you are out there thinking, Vivian, nobody would sign up to my email list. No, that is not the thing. What Chelsea and I have found is really there are 2 parts to an email list. Everybody knows the part where they're like, hey, I have people that I've captured onto this list, right? Whether it be because they came in the store and my system collects their email addresses. Great. Now you guys have an email list that you can send every month. You can send them an email highlighting one of your products or one of your services. And like Chelsea just said, she just did it for one of our clients and within a week already has 2 appointment booked, right? 2 appointments booked.
2 appointments.
And so, yeah, that's the thing is that's converting $2. That's bringing additional revenue that that client wouldn't have, gotten in anywhere else unless they're using like text marketing or something like that. The other thing is, so you're able to tap into an existing clientele that you have and to just continue selling to them when they're not in front of you, when they're not visiting your store, when they're not on your website, right? Brings it top of mind. The other side of it, though, that doesn't get enough, I think, attention is the fact that you can draw new people onto a list that still have not bought a thing from you, but you can convert into a client or into a customer.
And we call that lead magnets.
Lead magnets, yes. And we do have if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel under the Seasoned Marketer, where we post all of our weekly marketing videos, we do have an entire video about lead magnets. And it talks about how you can leverage them to grow your business. So for example, last night, what was I doing? I was actually redoing our webpage, Chelsea, on the Seasoned Marketer website that has all of our freebies, all of our free downloads. And so what Chelsea and I do is we are very strategic, whether we pair it with a marketing video that we're doing or maybe a blog post. We have a download, for example, we have one for a checklist, right? If you're attending an event, a pop-up or a craft fair, we have a checklist that you can download that will help you stay organized. That's free. The way people get that free download, though, is they have to input their first name and their email address. This then puts them onto a mailing list for us. That email list is then segmented. So not only do they get our weekly emails that we send out for marketing tips, but Chelsea and I then know by keywords and by what they downloaded that they are into craft fairs, pop-ups, and events. So then anything else that we put out there, like a course, like we just put together, they're going to be the people that we go back to and really promote that to, because we know that's right up their alley.
And that is such an important part of email marketing that I think can sometimes be overlooked, but so important: personalization and segmentation.
Well, I think it's also because, that's the one thing you laugh that I have over 9,000 emails in my inbox. I do look at them as they come up and show up on my phone. I only click on the ones that I feel are important to me, right? So I think that's where good segmentation is going to allow you as a small business to really upsell the products and services that people within those lists want to see. But on top of it, I think the other thing it does, Chelsea, is it allows you as a business owner to show up consistently, right? So think about the one thing that you do for our client who happens to do eyelashes, right? So you're providing tips. She is providing tips on a monthly basis, how to care for your lashes, how to, things that I've never even thought of because I don't wear, fake lashes. But whenever you send me the emails, I'm like, oh, That's interesting. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And it gives her an opportunity to also really jump on to some of these holidays that come up or seasons, right? So you did one for her for prom.
Yes, for prom. So she
Yes,
does
because
makeup services as well.
yeah,
So,
and I think that's the thing is like you're leaving money on the table when you are not, that is low-hanging fruit for you. If you are not going in there and saying, okay, I'm a boutique spa that does eyelashes and makeup. If I'm not selling to teenage girls for their prom, then what am I doing? That's like, I mean, that's the one time they are going to spend a little more money to go get their makeup done.
Exactly. And I do love, I do most of our emails. Now you have some clients as well that you do email marketing for. I tend to always have an educational piece in my emails that I create for our clients, just because I think that's a great way to connect with your audience. You're not straight up just selling to them. You're saying, here is a piece of information that I think would be really useful for you because I know this is something that you're interested in. And also, by the way, here's a deal that we're doing that's related to this piece of information.
Well, it brings down that barrier. So it's always interesting to me. It's kind of like you wouldn't go up to someone, off the street and just be like, hey, you need to spend $697 to buy this course that I just created because it's really fabulous, right? First of all, they'd be like, who the heck are you? And second of all, no thanks, right? But if you are consistently showing up and people start to trust your judgment, because essentially that's what they want to do. They want to trust that the people they are buying from know what they're talking about, right?
Yes.
So for this client, if in the consumer's mind, she is consistently sending out communication that's good, that's educational, and that is saving me money because I am therefore taking better care of my lashes and I'm not going to have to go get them filled as often, or I'm not having to get replacements because that stuff can add up and be expensive, right?
Yeah.
She's genuinely interested in ensuring that I am doing well and that I'm taking care of my lashes and stuff. Over time, she's going to be the first person that I go to when I have a question about anything makeup related, lash related, all of that. You have to put in the work though, y'all. It's relationship building. I don't know why it is that people think that just because it's online, it's not relationship building. It's 100% relationship building. And your email list is one of the best ways to be able to just slide into someone's inbox and be like, hey, I'm here. Like you said, I got some really great, interesting, important,
information.
Yeah. And also, by the way, if you're ever looking for X, Y, and Z, that's right up my alley too, right?
Well, do we want to maybe go into more details about best practices for email marketing?
Sure.
Let's get
what do you want to kick it off with?
Nitty-gritty.
Yeah. What's your number one thing?
Ooh.
That you think makes a good, effective email?
Number one thing that makes a good, effective email, when you're creating it, think like a consumer. There are so many times where I've talked to someone who's creating an email and they create something that I look at them and I say, would you open that? Because if you would not open your own email, why do you think your target audience is going to open your email? Now, it does get a little more difficult remembering that you are not your target audience. So let me backtrack a little bit. Think like your target audience. Would your target audience actually open this email? That comes down to your subject line, the preview text. Is there a GIF or an image right off the bat? Is there too much verbiage? You should have we have the 60-40 rule for emails. So 60% should be text, 40% should be images. All of that stuff comes back to, is my target audience going to open this?
Yeah, I think mine is similar to that, kind of feeds into that, but it's what you just touched on right there at the end. And it's very much know what makes your inbox happy. So here's the thing.
Yes.
I'm going to give you a perfect example. We were working with somebody on a email that they were helping us with, and this happened to be an advertiser. And I asked them, I said, they sent me back something that was just a big graphic. So basically what they were going to do was send an email and just embed the graphic. And I'm like, your inbox does not like that. Okay. It's going to end up right in the spam folder because it's one giant image and the inbox is like, no, thank you. I'm not delivering this. Right.
Yep.
So as Chelsea mentioned, it is smart to just brush up on the rules, the very basic rules of email marketing. And that means, like she said, there's a rule where you want to have a good balance of text and some images in there, but do not just put all images in the body of your email, because that's not going to, it's going to flag your email.
Yes.
That's what it's going to do. And so you don't want that happening. Additionally, you want to be sure that your subject lines are straight to the point, maybe create them to be a little intriguing, right? So one of the ones I just did last week was like the hottest accessory for, you know, like summer eating or something like that. But what you're doing is you're creating a little bit of an allure so that people are like, oh, let me see what that's about, right?
Exactly. Another thing for subject lines, emojis are okay if you use like one or two. Don't go overboard. That's going to flag you.
They always tell you to think of emojis as like an exclamation point, right? So you put it at the end of like the sentence or something, and you can add it to your subject line. But emojis are also acceptable. So that's the thing. It's funny that you say, you know, don't go overboard, because people were showing our age difference here, because I think then people of my age are like, well, we, you know, if we grew up marketing and doing this over the years, emojis had no place in marketing. Like it was, you know, it was like emojis is for texting, but not for use in any of our marketing.
I think that's a great example of changes in the marketing industry, because now they actually do suggest that you add one, at the most two emojis. That's going to help with your open rates. However, again, don't go overboard, because overboard, then you're going to get spammed.
Yeah, absolutely. We did a marketing video on that one too, emojis and marketing, right?
Yeah.
But that's exactly to your point. There's a shift that occurs naturally over time. I think the other thing when it comes to the very basics of email marketing is, as Chelsea mentioned, you want to be sure that you're providing content that is intriguing to them and that is useful, but also pair it with any product sales or service sales that you have going on. And so you don't really always want it to be just a selling point, right? Because no one's going to want to open that. And I'll tell you right now, that's why I don't open, I mean, years ago when I used to shop at Express, that was all they did, it was just sales. And I mean, you would do it because you're like, oh, I kind of want to know if like their pants are going on sale or something, but you quit opening the stuff after a while because it's just not intriguing enough to open it. Yeah.
I just delete it.
Do you?
So I just quick delete, because I can't have the notification. I can't see that I have an unread email. I have to get rid of it. So I just fast delete everything. But I will pause if I see something, an email from a trusted business that I know is going to be actually useful information that I actually might want to read.
Do you love making crafts and working on your small business but struggle to get them in front of customers?
Do craft fairs, events, or pop-ups leave you feeling overwhelmed or frustrated?
Introducing Rock Your Fair, the course designed to help you succeed in the world of craft fairs, pop-ups, and events, created by two marketing professionals with over 15 years of experience. Rock Your Fair is perfect for anyone who's new to the game or just wants to step up their game.
Our step-by-step approach will guide you through everything you need to know, from choosing the right events to setting up your booth to marketing your products effectively.
And you know what? You'll also get access to us for personalized coaching and feedback so you can put your best foot forward.
Do not let craft fairs, pop-ups, and events hold you back. Sign up for Rock Your Fair today and start rocking your way to success.
For a limited time, get access to our free mini course. Simply head over to our website at www.theseasonmarketer.com and click on workshops. Well, so what's another thing that you think would be a best practice in regards to email marketing?
You need a welcome email or a sequence. So as soon as they put in their email address and they become a part of your email list, it should be automated. They should automatically get an email saying, hey, welcome to our list. Here's some background information, all that.
Yeah. So this is very easy to do. If you have an email list, you likely are using a platform like MailChimp or OmniSend or Flowdesk. That's the one we use right now. Any of those, you'll be able to set up automations for what Chelsea is talking about. And so what it is, it's a trigger. Very easy to do. If you guys need help with this, send us an email. It's really simple. So basically, you'll go in there and it basically just tells the platform, when somebody signs up for this email list, we want you to wait X amount of days or hours. You can choose 24 hours. That's what we do. We want them to wait 24 hours, and then we want it to send our welcome email. In that welcome email, we basically give them an overview of all of the resources that we have. And the reason we do this is because we want them to know that once they step into our world, we want to show them exactly what we have available. Hey, you get a weekly email from us. We have weekly marketing videos. We have a weekly marketing podcast. Here's how to reach us. Here's our website and linking to our services. We have a closed Facebook community. The reason we do that, though, is because it allows us to just introduce ourselves again. And at the bottom of there, we do try to keep it very succinct. And at the very bottom, we do give them a brief little bio, like, hey, why should you listen to anything we have to say related to marketing, right? So we want to let them know about our experience and why we can be a trusted source of information for them. But that's where, as a small business owner, you can do this even if you are a boutique furniture shop. Okay?
Yes.
And what you want to do is think about if you go live every Wednesday to sell your products on Facebook Live, you want to tell them about that in that welcome sequence. Right?
Yes.
If you have,
maybe like a pop-up shop.
Yeah. If you have a pop-up shop, you want to be able to tell them or let them know how they can keep up with you to know the next location you're going to be at. If you do that utilizing Facebook, say, you're going to want to join my Facebook page because that's where I tell you where my food truck's at, where my pop-up shop is, all of that good stuff. But you have to start letting them know that whenever they step into your world, what do you have to offer them?
Yes.
Right?
And that's what a welcome email is there to do. Again, you can have it triggered so you don't even have to worry about it, have it automated.
It's very nice once the automation is set up. The hardest part is just as you add on services, at least for me, because we've seen this over time, we've grown organically as far as our offerings. And so whenever we do launch a podcast, I had to go back in and I had to edit the welcome sequence, but it's fine because if anything for me, I'm like, it benefits us because we're able to just notify people about another resource that they have when they join.
Your turn then. What's best practice for email marketing?
All right. So for me, I think figuring out what your vibe is going to be. Like, what is your thing going to be? And the reason I say this from a marketing perspective, because you and I have clients that we do emails for, and each one of them is very different.
Yes.
Right. So what I find is, for example, chiropractic service, you want to be very informational educational and you want to be a trusted source of medical information, right? And so therefore you have to do that by consistently showing up and providing valuable information. So the emails that a chiropractor would send are very different than the emails that the lash company would send. Those are able to be a little more fun and cheeky. So I think figuring out what your vibe is going to be via email helps with creating not just consistency, but developing a brand voice.
Yes.
All right. So for ours, what I like to do for the seasoned marketer is at the top, I like to include like a funny GIF. GIF. Did
you just say GIF?
Yeah.
Oh
GIF.
no, it's GIF.
So I like to include a funny GIF on there and whatever. And so the reason I do that is because we want the information that we're providing to be, because it's always something useful, right? But we want to be able to introduce it kind of like in a cheeky way, right? Because that's more of our style, our vibe, I feel like.
Yeah.
And so over time, I feel like my writing has gotten to the point where I'm a little, I'll allow myself to have a little more fun with it because I know that the audience that is digesting our information is okay with that. Like they're business owners with a good sense of humor. And so I can introduce it in a little bit of a less serious type of manner.
Good example. We work with lash company. We also work with a Brazilian wax salon. Now they're kind of in the same world, but they have very, very different branding. And the content that I create for the lash company is very different from what I create for the Brazilian wax salon, just because making sure that you're using the correct voice, correct tone, and making sure that it's aligning with their brands.
So I think if you're going to start to consider doing email marketing and you want to do it consistently, I think give thought, and you don't have to have it, right off the bat. You don't have to know. It's allowed to grow organically and you can pivot and change it as often as you like. But I think what also makes it easy is once you decide kind of what fits your brand and the style of emails that you want to send, it also really helps to remain consistent because it gets really easy because you're being authentic to your brand, right?
Absolutely.
So I think that helps a lot.
Oh, I have a great one for best practices. Optimize your emails for mobile.
Yes.
I mean, where do you check your emails?
On your phone.
On your phone. Well, actually, I don't, but I am an anomaly. Most people check their emails on their phones, and there's nothing worse than opening an email and nothing looks right and it doesn't make sense. You're not going to look at it another second. You're just going to immediately delete it.
And maybe if you're listening to this, maybe you don't know that there is always, so just get in the habit now in 2023 that whenever you are doing anything marketing related, right? If it's on your website, check and make sure that's mobile friendly. If it's an email, check and be sure that it's mobile friendly, right? Always, if you're creating a banner ad for something, be sure that you're also providing a mobile friendly version of it. And the reason we say this, in your email platforms, if you're using a MailChimp, OmniSend, anything like that, there is a version at the top. So you're going to have a picture. They usually present it on the top right-hand screen, and there'll be a picture of a laptop and a picture of a cell phone, right? Click on the cell phone and it will show you on the screen what it looks like in a phone.
On a phone.
And so that's your mobile friendly version. And the reason Chelsea's telling you to do that is because sometimes when you format it on the desktop or laptop, if you click that phone icon and it shows you what it looks like on mobile, you may find that your images don't align, that your text doesn't align. These builders, email builders, have a really good natural tendency of doing that automatically. So they try not to give you options that's going to jack up the mobile side of it. But every once in a while, you may just see that's not aligning right. So check laptop and also mobile. That's great, Chelsea. Another best practice is to be legal. And what I mean by that is there are certain legal requirements when you are doing email marketing. You don't want to end up in the email popo jail. Okay. What I mean by that is you have to abide by certain legal restrictions. Okay.
Yes.
If you are sending emails out, you are required to place an unsubscribe option on that email. Typically, this is done at the bottom of the email, but it has to be visible. So that way the person knows that they are able to opt out of receiving this type of email communication.
Also, getting consent. You always need to get consent to receive those specific types of emails. So I have a great example of this. I once worked with a provider who did clinical research as well as running his practice, and he wanted to send an email out about his new research trials to everyone on his patient list. And I had to explain to him, no.
Well, I was going to say, stop right there, because people listening might be like, oh, that sounds fine. I mean, like, you have the emails captured, but so what's wrong with that, Charles? Like, why?
They did not consent to receiving those types of emails.
Yes. So consent is a big thing, right? In real life and in the email world. Consent, consent, guys.
Because we had a separate segmented email list for people who said, yes, I do want to receive emails about research.
Clinical studies, yeah.
Yes, about clinical studies. And I had to explain, no, we can only send it to those people. I think he sent it anyways, but in the past.
FBI is going to be calling you. So that means if you are collecting email addresses when people are checking out at like your storefront, so let's say you're collecting payment and you have something on there that gives them an option to add an email address, you have to have 1 or 2 sentences in there that you are specifically telling them that their email is going to be used to send marketing or promotional material to them. Okay.
Yes.
That's very important. So be sure that you are just CYA, cover your and, put that verbiage in place so that way you don't get dinged for sending them promotional emails afterwards. Because there is a very serious fine to it if you are not doing that.
There is, and a lot of these email marketing platforms actually have rules where I know for MailChimp, I can't remember the specific numbers, but if you get a specific amount, a specific percentage of people saying they did not consent to receiving your email, they will suspend your account.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They want to be sure that you're not just buying emails offline, which let's also talk about best practices. Don't do that, y'all. Like, don't. Okay, listen, I understand that it's hard and it takes longer to build an email list from scratch. I get it. But the purpose of you getting an email list and growing one is so that you can attract your target audience and the right type of clientele and customers to your business. It serves you no good to go out, spend money on an email list of people that have no interest in buying your products or services. It's a waste of time and money. So just don't do it. And it's going to land you in the MailChimp jail or whatever platform that you're using. You're going to get your account suspended. So don't do that. They do want to be sure that everyone is getting consent for stuff. Same thing for text marketing these days, same rules, just adjust it for texting purposes. So just cover your butts and be sure that you're doing that up front.
Another best practice, and we say this almost every single episode, but we're trying to drive it home. Don't forget to look at the data.
Yes.
Look at your metrics. So open rates, bounce rates, people who unsubscribe. So your unsubscribe rate. What's something I'm forgetting?
I think those are the key ones.
Okay, cool.
Really, the big thing with that, and like Chelsea said, bounce rate, a lot of people don't know. You'll see this a lot if, let's say, if somebody makes a syntax error or something, and what I mean by that is if they type the email incorrectly. right? On wherever you're capturing it, it will put like a dud in that email list. So, if you got the .com in the wrong place or it just isn't a good email, it's going to bounce back.
Yep.
And so what Chelsea is saying is if you have a high bounce rate, that should trigger you to want to go in there and clean your email list up.
Yes.
So every once in a while, you do need to get in the habit. The analytics, from my perspective, I love it because it's almost like a little game you get to play. So what I look for is open rates. Okay. Yep. And what tells me, there are a couple different ways that I look at open rates. It's not the total open rate. If you are consistent with email marketing, what ends up happening is I know we send out weekly emails. I know that within the first 24 hours, our open rate should be a certain percentage, right? So maybe like 30%. And as it goes on, some people will go back throughout later in the weeks, right? And they'll read it. So that open rate may bump up slightly to like 40%. But because I look at the analytics often, I know what is a range. And so any outliers outside of that range either are emails that really hit home or are emails that did not do well. And so that starts to give you an idea of what your target audience likes to read and what type of information is super intriguing for them. So anything that performs super well, I know, hey, we want to do more of that. What do I think, had them intrigued enough to have a higher open rate on this one email? Was it the content? Was it the presentation of the content? Did we embed something? Did we have a really good subject line that was not like the other subject lines we typically do? Yeah. So these are all little clues that these analytics will give you to hone in and try to optimize. Yeah. We talked about how good of email marketing is at bringing more revenue and more money in. If you start to hone in on these, that means eventually that translates to dollars into your business, right?
Yes, absolutely. Use the data that you have. Use it so that you can create content that your consumer wants to see. It's all about the consumer.
Triangulation is also really it's something really fun to me. And what I mean by that is what we do over time is, because we know that we have a consistent open rate, because we're sending out weekly emails, we start to pair things up. So if we have a really good YouTube video that we do. So for example, last week we found a tool that we shared with our audience, and it was called ManyChat. Okay. So what it allows you to do is just automate your Instagram DMs, right? So that you can sell your products and services a lot easier, and it doesn't take manpower for you to do that. So we also happen to now be—
Which is amazing, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah, it works like a charm, and it's so cheap, y'all. It's free, but you can upgrade to like a $15 a month thing.
Oh my God.
Which we did.
It.
Yeah. Okay. So we're also affiliates for that now. Okay. So triangulation, what we did is we had an email that was going out, because we do think this is something that saves people time, business owners time. It automates the process, and it keeps you from having to have somebody monitor your Instagram 24/7 to respond back with a link or something like that. And so we shared it in the email. I then embedded the YouTube video for a tutorial on how to set up the automation if they needed it. So that's taking it one step further. So now not only do we have an email that is providing useful information, we are also now driving more views to our YouTube video. And by the way, if you're interested in signing up for the service, here's our link. And we're affiliates for that. So ultimately that can drive some, revenue to our business. So it's all about just the consistency and really maximizing how you're tapping into an audience. But at the end of the day, I mean, do we feel bad about promoting our YouTube video or our affiliate link? Absolutely not, because I know that the amount of content that we provided on it was good, and it was all information that would help somebody in their small business. So
Absolutely.
So I think the key takeaway here in all of this discussion about best practices for email marketing is really just to remind you that if you own a business, email marketing is probably something that's going to have one of the highest ROIs, right?
Yep.
So it's going to bring way more money into your business, or has the potential to, if you leverage it correctly. It also happens to be the one thing that has probably the least amount of red tape or barriers for you to kind of like get through to start doing it. So what I mean by that is, you can start with an email list of 1, with an email list of 10, and grow it from there. So if you have an email list that's sitting there and it's getting dusty and you just haven't done anything with it, we highly encourage you to either look at the platform that you are using for your business. So, for example, the clients that we work with, a lot of times the platforms they're using for their day-to-day management offers some type of email marketing in it.
Yes.
Right? So you may already be paying for the capability to send emails to your target audience. You're just not taking advantage of it. Or if you're not doing collecting emails and you truly are just starting from scratch, then we encourage you to look into these platforms like a Flowdesk or a MailChimp or a OmniSend. If you're interested in Flowdesk, that's the one we use. We have a link where you can actually get for $19 a month for that first year. And so that's a big savings. The nice thing, the reason we like Flowdesk is because you can grow that list as much as you want, and it doesn't charge you over that amount, right? So like it's a monthly payment and you can grow your email list. Whereas some of the other ones,
MailChimp.
the bigger your email list grows, the more they start to, you have to pay. Yeah. But so, anyways, if you haven't looked into a platform like that, then it definitely is a good thing. And if you're thinking, Vivian, I have no way of getting someone onto an email list, like Chelsea said at the beginning of this podcast, lead magnets is the way to go. Very simply, you can create a lead magnet on a Word document. You can convert it to a PDF. And then if you're using a Flowdesk, a MailChimp, a OmniSend, they have places in there where you can create these little landing pages where people can sign up to receive this download. Or you could do it on your website.
We have a YouTube video about lead magnets, how they work, how to set them up, all of that stuff. So if you really are starting from scratch and you just don't know where to go check out the lead magnets, go check out Flowdesk.
Yeah, and always feel free to reach out to us, guys. help@theseasonmarketer.com. We'd be more than happy to respond back with a link to any of these emails, so that way you have a starting point.
And if you are looking for help with your email marketing, specifically you need help creating those emails, again, we do offer those services. So just reach out to us, help@theseasonmarketer.com.
Yeah, we'd be more than happy to add you to our list of clients that we work with. And I will say we're pretty intuitive when it comes to stuff like that. So because we write all day, it's something that's a lot easier for us because we're not shifting gears so much in between stuff. And that concludes our podcast episode. So thanks for joining Chelsea and I for another S.O.B marketing podcast episode. And remember, guys, these are every Wednesday. We release a new one. And if you haven't checked out our YouTube channel under The Seasoned Marketer, go do that, because we do release weekly marketing videos and tutorials on that YouTube channel as well.
Yes. And if you want to see little bloopers, little clips from these podcast episodes, go follow us on our social media. We're on the platforms Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. It's all under The Seasoned Marketer.
That's right. Thanks for joining us. Catch you next week.
Yeah, and
go out there
and be
Go ahead.
Go out there and be the best SOB you can be.
That's right.